Russian President Vladimir Putin is in Crimea on a 3-day visit. The Black Sea region was annexed by Moscow from Ukraine last year, a move which was followed by the start of a Russian-backed insurgency in East Ukraine. And while Putin continues his trip in East Ukraine, hostilities have once again escalated, 15 months after they initially flared up. On today's press review here on Ukraine Today, we look at what this recent uptick in fighting means. An opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal tells us Russian violations range from small arms fire to covert infiltration to the heavy shelling on the weekend. The Kremlin's aim is to gradually break the will of the Ukrainian people. It's a war of attrition that Russia is fighting, according to Ukrainian military officials. The Wall Street Journal elaborates. The newspaper writes, the devastation and human suffering wrought by indiscriminate Russian shelling, 120mm mortars and 152mm howitzers that blow through homes, factories and fortifications and account for many of the nearly 9,000 killed since the conflict erupted, is at the heart of this strategy. What can Ukraine do to end this conflict? It's been argued before that Kiev's allies, the US and Europe, are pushing Ukraine into a corner by forcing it to unilaterally comply with the terms of a February peace deal signed in Minsk, which is being ignored by the Russian-backed insurgents. The Wall Street Journal seems to agree that this approach is wrong. It writes, under pressure from the US and Western European powers to abide by Minsk while its adversary doesn't, Kiev's hands are tied and its capabilities are outmatched by the Kremlin's. Help from America and Europe has come largely in the form of sanctions on Russia, but they don't appear to have done much to bring an end to fighting in East Ukraine, even if they have helped push the Russian economy into recession. There has also been some non-lethal aid, but no lethal weapons. In the US, the Pentagon was reportedly ready a month ago to transfer advanced radar systems to Ukraine, but that has failed to materialize. As the Wall Street Journal tells us, the Pentagon still needs political authorization in Washington almost a month after the original announcement was made, to great press fanfare. No wonder Vladimir Putin thinks he can violate his agreements with impunity. So, impunity for Russian President Vladimir Putin. European and US leaders would likely argue against such an assessment of the situation in East Ukraine. But looking at events on the ground, it's difficult to disagree. Fresh civilian casualties have been reported in recent days. Meanwhile, no one appears to have good answers as to how to bring an end to the bloodshed. That's all we have time for today. Join us again tomorrow for another press review. In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.